When Layla said it, she didn't even look up from her phone. "I'm taking a girls' trip to Miami this weekend," she said casually, like she was announcing she'd be out of milk. "You're not coming." For a second, I thought she was joking. Not because it sounded funny, but because my brain couldn't process it. The words didn't match the person I thought I was dating. The Layla I knew would have said it differently. She would have been excited, playful, even a little guilty about leaving me behind. This Layla sounded official, like she was giving me a decision, not sharing an idea. "Wait," I said, trying to smile. "What do you mean I'm not coming?" She finally looked at me. Her face was calm, but there was something in her eyes that felt guarded, like she'd already prepared for an argument. "It's just girls," she said. "Me, Qley, Danny, and Tasha, no boyfriends, we just need a weekend." I nodded slowly. "Okay, but why Miami?" Layla sighed like I'd asked the dumbest question in the world. "Because it's Miami, it's fun, it's a vibe." That word, vibe, came out of her mouth in a way that didn't sound like her. It sounded like Qley, like she'd borrowed Qley's personality and put it on like a jacket. I watched her thumbs scroll up and down her screen, and something uncomfortable settled in my stomach. Layla wasn't asking for my trust. She was asking for my silence. I tried to keep my voice light. "When did you plan this?" "Last minute," she said. "Miami isn't last minute," I replied before I could stop myself. Her eyebrows lifted. "Why are you acting like I'm doing something wrong?" There it was, the twist, the trap. She hadn't even left yet, and I already felt like the villain. "I'm not acting like you're doing something wrong," I said carefully. "I'm just surprised." Layla leaned back on the couch, crossing her legs. "It's one weekend. I'm not married to you." That sentence hit harder than it should have. Not because I wanted to control her, but because it sounded like she was reminding me I was replaceable. We'd been together almost 3 years. 3 years of shared routines, shared groceries, shared nights falling asleep to the same shows. 3 years of me knowing her coffee order and her favorite snack, and the way she hated when the bed sheets weren't tucked in. I didn't expect marriage yet, but I expected respect. I expected warmth. I expected the kind of love that didn't feel like it could be turned off with a switch. And lately, Layla's love had felt exactly like that. She used to talk to me, really talk. She used to tell me about her day like I was her person. Now, she mostly told me things like I was her roommate. I told myself it was stress, work, life, maybe she was tired. But when she said, "You're not coming," it didn't feel like stress. It felt like a door closing. "Fine," I said after a long pause. "Go have fun." Her shoulders relaxed instantly, and that alone made me feel worse. Because it meant she'd expected me to fight. And she'd prepared herself to win. That night, Layla was in the bedroom packing while I stayed in the living room pretending to watch TV. I wasn't actually watching anything. My mind kept replaying the conversation, searching for the part where it stopped making sense. Every couple has moments like this, right? Sometimes people need space. Sometimes people need time with friends. But why did this feel like secrecy instead of space? Layla came out holding a bikini. A red one. Not the kind she wore when we went to the beach last summer. Not the kind she wore when it was just us, sunburnt and laughing, sharing fries and taking silly photos. This one was tiny, expensive, bold. She held it up with a grin. "What do you think?" I forced my face into something supportive. "Looks nice." Layla tilted her head. "Nice." "It's bold," I said. She smiled in a way that felt sharp. "That's the point." Then she turned and walked back into the bedroom. I sat there frozen, because I couldn't stop thinking the obvious thought. Who was she trying to impress? It wasn't me. I wasn't going. She made that clear. The next day, Qley came up in conversation. Qley had always been Layla's closest friend, but I never trusted her. She had the kind of energy that made relationships feel like a joke. She'd smile at you while planting doubt in your mind. The first time I met Qley, she looked me up and down and said, "So you're the guy who got her to settle down." Layla laughed like it was cute. I didn't. Qley was the type who treated loyalty like something weak people needed. And I'd seen Layla change around her. With me, Layla was soft. With Qley, Layla became hard. More sarcastic, more dismissive, like she had to prove she was too in love. So when Layla said girls trip, I didn't imagine sunsets and brunch. I imagined Qley whispering poison in her ear. Friday morning came fast. Layla woke up early, showered, did her hair, did her makeup. Not casual airport makeup either. Full makeup, like she was going to be photographed. She walked into the kitchen, pulling her suitcase behind her perfume trailing behind her like a warning. "Text me when you land," I said. She paused. "Yeah, sure." I waited for a kiss. She kissed my cheek, quick, light, polite. Like a goodbye you give someone you don't want to owe anything to. Then she grabbed her suitcase. "I'm going with Qley," she said. I blinked. "I thought I'd drive you." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "No, Qley is picking me up." "Okay," I said, trying not to show my disappointment. She opened the door, then turned back like she remembered something. "Don't blow up my phone," she said. I stared at her. "Layla," I said slowly, "I'm not that kind of guy." She shrugged. "Good." And then she left. The door shut. The apartment went silent. And I stood there for a moment, feeling like I'd just been abandoned without being officially broken up with. For the first few hours, I tried to distract myself. I cleaned the kitchen. I did laundry. I answered work emails. I watched random YouTube videos, anything to stop my mind from spiraling. Then my phone buzzed. Layla landed, about to get food. Talk later. Relief washed over me. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe she was just tired. Maybe this was normal. I replied instantly. Me, have fun, be safe. No response. Okay, fine. She's with her friends. But by evening, the quiet started to feel heavy. Layla hadn't posted anything, which was strange because she usually posted everything. Not constantly, but enough. A coffee, a sunset, a funny sign. Nothing. That's when I opened Instagram. Not because I wanted to snoop. Because I wanted reassurance. I clicked on Qley's story. The first clip showed the Miami skyline. The second showed 4 cocktails on a table. I smiled slightly. Okay, that looks normal. Then the third story started. It was a club. Loud music, neon lights, people dancing. And there, right in the center of the frame, was Layla. Not standing with the girls. Not laughing with Danny or Tasha. Layla was pressed close to Man. His arm was around her waist. And Layla's head was tilted back in laughter, like she hadn't laughed with me in months. My body went cold. I watched it again. And again. Maybe it was a random guy. Maybe it was harmless. But Layla's hand was on his chest. Not pushing him away. Not politely creating space. Resting there. Like she belonged there. I couldn't breathe properly. I texted her immediately. Me, who is that guy in Qley's story? No response. I waited. 5 minutes. 10. I called her. Straight to voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. My heart was pounding so hard I felt dizzy. Then, finally, my phone buzzed. "Layla, why are you stalking my friend's stories? That's weird." I stared at the message, my jaw tightening. That wasn't an answer. That was an attack. It was the kind of response someone gives when they're guilty, but don't want to admit it. I typed slowly. "Me, I'm not stalking anything. I saw you with a guy. Who is he?" No response. I called again. Voicemail. I sat down on the couch, my hands shaking. The apartment felt too big. Too quiet. I kept replaying the past few months. Layla being distant. Layla turning her phone away when I walked into the room. Layla suddenly caring more about how she looked. Layla getting annoyed when I asked normal questions. I'd ignored it because I loved her. Because I trusted her. Because I didn't want to be the paranoid boyfriend. But now I felt stupid. Not for loving her. For trusting someone who was clearly hiding something. Saturday morning, she texted again like nothing happened. Layla, going to the beach, don't be dramatic. I stared at it for a long time. Then I replied, Me, I'm not being dramatic. I'm asking you one question. No response. My stomach was in knots. I wanted to call my best friend, but I didn't want pity. I didn't want someone telling me she's probably just having fun. Because my gut wasn't saying fun. My gut was screaming betrayal. So I did something I'd never done before. I opened our shared laptop. Not to invade her privacy, but because Layla herself had created a shared folder. It was where we kept receipts, travel plans, and booking confirmations. We were the kind of couple who planned life like a team. At least, I thought we were. I clicked into the folder, and I found a PDF. A hotel reservation. I opened it, and my whole body went numb. The reservation wasn't for 4 girls. It wasn't for a group. It was for a double room. 1 bed. 3 nights. And the names on it were Layla Harper, Ethan Miller. I stared at the screen, so long my eyes started burning. Ethan. I didn't know an Ethan. Layla had never mentioned an Ethan. But now the pieces snapped together like a puzzle I didn't want solved. The red bikini. The sudden girls' trip. The coldness. The deflection. The club video. It wasn't suspicion anymore. It was proof. I closed the laptop slowly. And for a moment, I didn't feel anger. I felt something worse. Humiliation. Because the truth wasn't just that she lied. The truth was that she thought I was stupid enough to believe it. She thought I'd sit at home, obedient and quiet, while she lived a different life in Miami. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept imagining her in that hotel room. I kept imagining her laughing with him. And the worst part, I kept imagining her coming back home to me like nothing happened. Because I knew Layla. She wasn't the kind of person who confessed. She was the kind of person who rewrote reality until she looked innocent. Sunday evening, I got another message. Layla, stop acting weird. I'm trying to enjoy my trip. I almost laughed. She was enjoying her trip. While I was sitting in the ruins of my relationship. I didn't reply. Instead, I stood up and walked into our bedroom. And I stared at the closet. At her clothes. At her perfume bottles. At the little things she'd left behind. And I realized something. This wasn't just a fight. This was a choice. And she'd already made hers. I walked back into the living room. I picked up my phone. And I was about to call her sister, Maya, because Maya had always been honest with me. But before I could, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was Layla. It was an unknown number. One simple message. Hey man, I don't know you, but you deserve to know what's happening in Miami. Call me. My heart stopped. Because whoever that was, they knew. And they weren't afraid to say it. I called the unknown number, and a man answered immediately. Bro, I'm sorry, he said. I didn't know she had a boyfriend. My chest tightened. Who is this? He hesitated, then said, I'm Ethan. The same Ethan. The one whose name I had just seen on the hotel booking. He sounded nervous. She told me she was single, but she went to the bathroom and I saw her lock screen. It's you and her. A couple photo. My hands started shaking. Where is she right now? I asked. In the hotel room, he admitted. She thinks I'm ordering food. I swallowed hard. Send me proof. A second later, he sent a picture. Layla's suitcase, the red bikini, and Layla's hand resting on his wrist. That was all I needed. I didn't call Layla. I didn't fight. I didn't beg. I packed her things quietly and left one envelope on the table. When Layla came home, she walked in smiling like nothing happened. "Babe," Miami was. Then she froze. Her things were gone. The apartment looked empty. She saw the envelope and opened it with shaking hands. Inside was the hotel reservation with her name and Ethan. 1 bed, 3 nights. Her face went pale. "You went through my stuff." I stared at her. "That's your first question." Tears filled her eyes. "It was a mistake. I was confused." I shook my head. "You weren't confused. You planned it." She reached for my hand, but I stepped back. "Please don't leave," she whispered. I looked at her for a long moment and said the truth. "You already left. You just wanted me waiting." She broke down. And then she said the line that proved everything. "I didn't think you'd actually walk away." I nodded once. "That's the problem." She left that night. 2 days later, Ethan texted me again. He said he dumped her in Miami the moment he found out about me. She lost him. She lost me. And for the first time, she finally understood. Attention isn't love. And the people you betray don't always stay.